the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Welcome to tonight's meeting, everybody. I'm going to start off with item 57, citizens' time. If anybody in the room or online would like to say anything, please raise your hand. We'll call you. And he was met with deafening silence. All right, moving on. First up, item 58, we have an appointment with the police department. Chief, come on down.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, coming before you, hoping that the town administrator will give an appointment to Kate Curtis Bozio, who will be coming back as an administrative assistant to replace openings that have been created by a recent retirement by my admin secretary, Rosemary Thierry, who retired after 22 years back in December. Kate comes back with institutional knowledge. She had worked in this exact position from 2012 through 2017. She then left to use those skills in her education and experience with the Framingham Police Department as a crime analyst, and she also has experience with crime analysis from the Lawrence Police Department. Coming back to the Burlington Police Department, we're going to be able to leverage those skills in her prior experience with our current systems, and also allow her to work with us as a crime analyst under terms of the Cummings grant. So she's going to be able to put her actual experience as a crime analyst to work for us as well. Kate is a Woburn resident. She has a bachelor's in science and legal studies from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, and also a master's in criminal justice from Suffolk University. With her experience and her work ethic, she will be instrumental in assisting us with onboarding the new records management system, ProPhoenix, which is a cooperative effort between us and the fire department. And she's also going to be able to help us as we move towards the body-worn camera technology, which should be coming on sometime after the ProPhoenix go-live date, sometime early spring, hopefully. So at this point, I would respectfully request the appointment of Kate Curtis Bozio to the position of Administrative Assistant within the Burlington Police Department.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With the Chief's recommendation, I appoint Kate Curtis Bozio to the position of Administrative Assistant in the Burlington Police Department and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
Mr. Chairman, as someone who got to work side by side with Kate, I proudly waive the 15-day, make a motion to waive the 15-day waiting period.
Second. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 4-0-0. Congratulations.
Welcome back.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Welcome back.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
See you this weekend tomorrow.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have an appointment for the Council on Aging. Marge, come on up.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. So when we, before the world shut down, exactly 3 years ago, we had two van drivers driving the seniors around. And during the pandemic, one of the van drivers retired, and we didn't have that much going on at the time, so we did not rehire her. We did not hire a new person. As things started to pick, we did have a backup driver, and things started to pick up during the last 12, 14 months. We hired Ken Gretchel as our backup driver. We discovered in last several months that we are using him every single day. So it was time to refill that position, which is a union position. So we posted it, and Ken applied, and he has graciously accepted. The seniors absolutely adore him. And I think there would be mutiny if we didn't have him anymore. So I request an appointment for Ken.
Okay, Paul?
No, thank you, Marge. Mr. Chairman, with Marge's recommendation, I appoint Kenneth Gretchel to the position of van driver in the Burlington Council on Aging and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved. Second.
Motion been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 400.
Thank you very much.
Ken's not with us tonight? For us to pick
No,
on
he
him?
is not with us tonight. Not drag him out in the rain. He's got a long day tomorrow.
Thank you, Marge.
All right, thanks, Marge. All right, item 60, we've got an appointment for Rink Oversight Committee. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure if any of the two gentlemen are here in the audience, but we did have two letters of inquiry request to be appointed to the Rink Oversight Advisory Committee. And I would recommend to the board that we appoint both of those people. As we know, we're always encouraging people to get involved on different committees. And in checking with Amy, there is no set amount of people that we can have on this committee. And I know from talking to Nicole, they've been trying to increase the numbers of people attending those meetings. So with the board's permission, I wish to appoint Howard Eichenbaum to the Rink Oversight Committee in the town of Burlington and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 400. Is Howard with us tonight? No? All right. Well, thank you, Howard, wherever you are.
Next, Mr. Chairman, I wish to appoint Anthony Salamone to the Rink Oversight Committee in the town of Burlington and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 400. Is Anthony with us? All right. Also, thank you, wherever you are. Takes care of those. Next up, item 61, we have a DPW appointment. Mr. White, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm here to provide a recommendation on the position to hire for the position of Special Heavy Equipment Operator Laborer. This position's been vacant for some time now. So we're fortunate to have Mr. Cam Gano. Comes to us with several years of experience working in the tree service industry. He's gained expertise in a number of areas that will benefit the town. This includes emergency tree service and storm damage cleanup, equipment operations, and plowing and snow removal. He also holds a Class A commercial driver's license and is in the process of obtaining his hoisting licenses. So I believe he'll be a great fit for the town.
Thank you, Brian. And with Brian's recommendation, I appoint Cameron Gano to the position of Special Heavy Equipment Laborer in the Burlington DPW Highway Division and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 400.
Yeah?
Yep.
Come on up. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congrats. All right. Next up, item 62, we got an approval for the all-night graduation party. Detail officers specifically, perhaps?
Hi there, I'm Karen Waisner. Good, how are you? I'm just here representing the Burlington High School All-Night Graduation Party Parent Volunteer Committee, requesting that we get 2 detailed police officers to support our night on June 4th from 10 PM to 5 AM. for the all-night graduation party.
You said June 4th, 10 to 5? Okay, questions?
No, I don't think there should be any questions. This goes over, do you have anything to say before we get going?
No, I would just say, Mr. Chairman, that this has been a tradition with the board for many years now, since they've been holding this party. And what the board will do is pay for the 2 police details that they're requesting for the event. And it's within your budget, it's budgeted every year. And again, it's been many years since the board's been approving this, so.
Very good.
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. We always take care of the details, and it's a great thing for the kids, so it's an absolute yes from me.
absolutely. Mike, Jim, anything?
No.
No? All right, gentlemen,
Make a motion to approve, the all-night party for the Burlington High School, the dates,
June 4th, 10 to 5.
9:30 PM to 10 AM. I mean, 5:30 AM.
Second.
You want to go all night and day.
Okay, motion been made?
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 400.
You want to tell us a little bit about what you guys have planned for this year?
So it's gonna be back at the high school this year. It's been at King's the last few years, so it's back at the high school. The kids have to register, pre-register. They come in and, anywhere from 10 PM to 11 PM. And then we have lots of entertainment. We have it in the cafeteria. We have an all-night DJ. We have a magician that walks around who's pretty impressive. We have a lot of food that we ask to get donated from a variety of different places in town. So the food is pretty much usually taken care of from donations. And then we have all kinds of entertainment. We have casino tables. We have pool tables that come. We have cornhole games. We have a photo booth that has all different options for the kids. So lots of different things. So, and then they stay till 5 AM and then they're gone and we turn the calf back for the school day, so, yep, that's it.
Awesome.
So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Karen.
Appreciate it.
All right, next up, we have item 63 for a street opening, 76 Lexington Street. Is anybody here for that? No?
I'm shocked. Mr. Chairman, all we have is the letter, the email that you have in your packet. Resident had written to the board, had a failing oil heating system and was looking to open up the road to connect to the gas,
Yep.
natural gas. The town has a moratorium. We're only allowed the street to be open between November 15th and, between November 15th and April 1st. We don't allow people to open the street, so we're a couple weeks away from that April 1st deadline, but I had anticipated that the gentleman would be here this evening, so.
Sure. Okay, well, I mean, I guess then we'll just postpone it for now and see if he wants to come in on the 27th. I mean, at that point, he might as well just wait until April 1st. You know, I saw his note, I mean, but I don't want to, I have questions, so I mean, I don't want to approve anything blindly. Okay, I guess we'll postpone it for now then.
Till 6:40 before they postpone it.
We could hold on till, we had it on the agenda at 6:40, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
you think he might come?
Maybe
When
we'll
he-
move it to the end in case.
All right, then let's go ahead and just take it out for now, and then we'll come back to it. All right, thank you, Lynn. Okay, next up, we have item 64, it's a proclamation for the 225th birthday of Burlington. So next year, we will be hitting our 225th birthday. And so tonight, we are going to read a proclamation that we are issuing as a board in celebration of that. I will do that, and then we will get this to the Historical Commission so they can frame it and, you know, I don't know, whatever they want to do with it. Hopefully show it to everybody. Okay, so Town of Burlington, Massachusetts Select Board Proclamation. Whereas the Town of Burlington, Massachusetts celebrates its 225th quasi-bicentennial anniversary in the year of 2024, it is fitting to recognize the Town of Burlington during this special milestone year and to celebrate its rich history. And whereas the Town of Burlington was incorporated as a separate political entity on February 28, 1799. Previously, it was part of the city of Woburn. From its incorporation in 1642 until 1799. It is located 13 miles northwest of Boston and has an area of 11.88 square miles. And whereas the Town of Burlington began as a small agrarian community with its roots in farming, including several large dairy farms, a number of piggeries and shoe factories, and a well-known ham curing plant. A stagecoach line from Boston to New Hampshire ran through the town as well. An industrial expansion started in 1954 after the completion of Route 128. And whereas the Town of Burlington was once one of the fastest-growing towns in Massachusetts, with a population of more than 26,000 that grows to over 40,000 during work hours, a hub for business and commerce, rich in recreation and entertainment opportunities, and therefore, we the Select Board of the Town of Burlington do hereby proclaim the year of 2024, the 225th quasi-bicentennial anniversary of the Town of Burlington, and urge all residents to spend the next year honoring and celebrating Burlington's legacy while beginning Burlington's next 225 years of continued success in the future. So, we got that. I don't know if anyone wants to make a comment on that. Feel free. But 225 years, so pretty exciting stuff. Next up, item 65, we've got the parking signs on Ardmore and B Street. I know that we had some folks going out there. Was that Joe and Jim, you guys went out there? Let's start with, well, I guess we can take it as both. Why don't you guys tell us what you found?
Start with our Admiral first.
Yeah.
So last week, we, myself, thanks, Mr. Bascom, Sergeant Bascom, excuse me, all met out at both sites. We started out at Ardmore Ave. Are there any residents in the audience right now from Ardmore Ave? Okay, why don't you come on up front so I don't have to, I mean, I know we have microphones, but I don't know who else, anybody else is here. So anyway, we went by it a couple times. Mr. Bascom has gone by a number of times during different intervals of the day, lunchtime, and that kind of stuff. The biggest thing that we can come up with is to put no parking on one side of that road. So if we do that, what's gonna happen is, on that particular side, it would be, which house do you live in?
One, so be the even side, I would imagine. Even side is the one that's lined up with cars
That's
right
what's
now
up.
all the
Okay,
time.
so that's the side, so if we were to do that, put the no parking sign on the opposite side of the street where they don't park right now, that means that even like on a Sunday afternoon, if you're having people over the house, whatever, no one can park on that side of the road, no one can park in front of your house, it's only allowed for the one side. So if that's something that you'd like to see us do, there was really no, I'm not gonna say there was no solution to it, but
Did you look into the daytime parking during the week? Like you said, you were talking about seven to seven weekdays?
But that-
Like I said, I don't mind on the weekends when, because they do get busy on the weekends and they fill up the street, but at least it's a little bit, it'll relieve trying to get in and out of driveways during the week.
you're right, it is, so.
And if it only comes to that, I'd rather than, yeah, just shut it down. Don't let them park on that side of the street. I know it's gonna push parking to other areas, on other
It's either gonna be
streets.
on one side or the other.
Yeah,
You know, you can't just shut down the whole street.
Yeah.
That's what we came up with.
Yeah.
Sergeant, would you like to interject with this at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I sat there on a handful of occasions during the heavy lunch hour periods, and it does fill up on that the high side of the street where the homes just sit a little bit higher. I didn't really see any vehicles parked on the other side. So if we put no parking on one side of the street, they're just gonna move to the other side of the street. I don't know if it's going to alleviate your problem or not, but I mean, I guess we could always give it a shot and see what happens, where, if at all, it gets displaced to other areas. My concern would be what happens to your neighbors in the surrounding streets also, because those cars are, they're
Yeah.
gonna go somewhere.
and like I said, the gentleman that was here last time, he's at number 3, so it's 1 and 3, those are the cars that they all park on the other side, that we can't get into our driveways. Down at the other end where Sammy's comes up, they park on that side and it's fine. There's no houses over there, there's nobody's, the only problem you have is taking a right or a left out of the Ardmore Ave. So when there's 8 cars over there, it doesn't affect anything, there's no houses, no cars, no anything, it's just our 2 houses that are affected when there's 9 cars all day long parked there.
Right, so we can't just go from, say, the beginning of, say, what's behind Sammy's, the high side of the street, till halfway down the street, and have no parking on one side, and then the rest of the street, what are we gonna do? If we do it on one side, they're gonna park on the other side. If we do it on your side, they'll park the other way. So the question is, what, you know, we looked at it a number of different ways, and no matter which way we do it, we can't put no parking on both sides.
Yep.
That's impossible. So,
I would say go high side, go that high side, the even number side.
yeah, that's where.
Like I said, my house, it's all pavement in front of it.
Yeah.
Right up to my front door. So I would imagine, unless it's my people I would know, they're not gonna park on my property.
Right.
Right there. There's maybe 1 or 2 spots next door that they usually have somebody parked there that lives there. And then it's one more house on that side, on this side of the street.
Well, like I said, you just have to be ready for if you're having a visitor during the week and he parks on the street, and there's a no parking sign there, and you're like, they come down, they give him a ticket.
Yep, no, I have no problem with that. Like I said, I have room in my house that I can fit 4 cars that I'm not worried about. And then on the weekends, if you, what do you got, thinking about just weekdays?
That was just something we what did we say about that? I honestly forget.
What was that?
The weekends.
We really didn't discuss the weekends because the no parking on one side, we believe, is the easiest, least intrusive approach to start with. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then we revisit it. But that's still, all three of us are in agreement on, let's start with this.
Yeah.
And see how this goes first.
And that's, well,
No, as long as something, the start of a process gets done to figure out, to relieve, like I said, he's probably seen it, you've seen it before.
seen it 1,000
It's
times.
The nail salon, the bakeries and stuff like that, that's just where they park for the day. They put their car there 7 in the morning, they leave at 9 o'clock at night. You can't get in and out of your driveway, you know.
we went from across the street where we had the problems
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, now it's behind Sammy's. It's the same group of people, same car, so 2 years ago, it was behind, across the street from Sammy's, now it's moved up to your neighborhood. So, and I don't know where it's gonna go next, but I'm sure within a year, somebody will be here next to say, you know, they're parking in my lot, or
Yeah.
Mr. Sullivan doesn't want anybody parking in
Yeah.
his lot, which I completely understand.
That's it, yeah. And he's also somebody I'm friendly with, that if I do have something, I can talk to him, and he can say, hey, okay, you can park. He'll let me and a couple cars park there, he don't have a problem with that, he's known me for years, so.
So my suggestion to the board is that we put up no parking signs on the high side of the street, and go from there.
As long as it's just distinguished, no parking on this side, so that
Right.
it's not confused that there's no parking
Right,
on this side, so.
That's gonna be for 7 days a week.
right now. Yep,
Okay, so no parking this side,
yep,
and we're putting it on the odd side of the street,
Even side.
even side.
on the even side.
No, with the sign closest to Wynn Street, right?
Okay, yes, that's what I was,
No, the high side, up the hill.
The other side.
The other
Side where the cars
When we
parked.
drove, where we parked, where we parked is gonna be able to park there, and on the other side of the street.
Okay.
Is where the no parking sign.
We parked on
Right?
on the the higher side.
Yeah, so the two, the even side, yeah, so 1, 3, 5, and then I don't know when it goes on the other side, the numbers are a little messed up, but
that's the odd side.
that's the clear side. The high side would be the high side of the hill, is that how you're saying it?
The uphill side.
The uphill side, yes, so that'd be the even side,
Okay. So we're putting up no parking signs
on the even side, correct. Good?
I'm fine with either side, it just has to be, you know,
Yeah, just make sure.
Like, well, that side would be the opposite side of all our driveways. So if cars were parked on this side, we'd be able to back out or pull in, and it's just trees over there and curbing, so we would be able to get in and out easily without worrying about hitting a car.
Oh, I see what you're saying, okay, that makes more sense.
all right, so yeah, that makes sense, put it on the even side, because more houses are on the opposite side.
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
There's only 2 houses on the even side.
Okay,
Right, okay. Okay,
do we have to,
let's take these as 2 separate votes,
Yeah,
so
for
we
7
can,
days.
we're clear about what we're doing specifically.
Yeah.
So this is a no parking this side, is what we're saying, for the sign, okay? Okay, so for Ardmore, would someone like to make a motion for,
I'd like to make a motion, no parking on the
even,
even side of the road.
second,
okay, motion been made and seconded, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, 5-0-0. All right, that takes
Thank
care
you,
of
guys.
Ardmore.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Good luck.
All right, next up, B Street, Joe, Jim, you guys were also,
yep.
Yep.
I'll take that one, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
So, Joe and I went down with Sergeant Abascaroon, and we were there for, you know, a decent amount of time. And we walked the street, we looked at the problems, and Sergeant Abascaroon went back several times that week. Took videos, photos, and we believe that there's 2 issues down there. One is the trucks that are parking for extended periods of time. But we also observed a safety issue by the Goldfish School, because people line up or they drop kids off, and there was just that day, there happened to be a truck parked across the street from Goldfish, which creates a choke point. So if somebody's lined up to go into Goldfish, it narrows it down, a 3-lane road, into 1. So cars can't get out, and it's difficult with little kids, it's a safety issue. So we believe we came up with a hybrid solution, so to speak, and that would be A and B Street, and Sarge, just to correct me if I go off, I'm wrong on this. A and B Streets would be 2-hour parking. And then B Street, from just beyond the Goldfish parking lot entrance, up to A Street would be no parking on both sides. That reduces the choke point, that reduces people from parking in front of Goldfish. And we figured we have to do A and B, because if we do just B, everybody's gonna move to A. So, 2-hour parking, A and B streets, and then no parking from here to the corner, from the Goldfish School up to A Street. So that's what we came up with.
Sergeant Baskerville, anything you want to add?
No, I think everything Selectman Tiggs said was appropriate. I know we did have a discussion on making it also a tow zone for some of the vehicles that have been there for a while. I know we were looking into that, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
what the status is.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Mr. Sagarino, do we have a follow-up town council on that?
We did, we don't have a response yet, but I do know that cities and towns tow cars, so.
All right, so we're gonna make that a
You know,
tow
it's
zone.
legal, it's just, we wanna make sure that we, you know, I'm sure it has something to do with the notice on the sign. So we will make sure that we do compliant signs, when we go to implement this.
Thank you. I think there are a couple of people here from A and B streets that might want to,
Yeah, if anyone who's here from A and B who wants to say anything, please come up and just let us know who you are and if you say what you want to say. Yeah, just right to the microphone, if you don't mind. Let us know who you are.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. Danielle Black over at 6B Street. We've had a business in town for decades in the building, so we really appreciate your attention to this matter. We have noticed that it was a safety issue, and, you know, the trucks are just there for days and days and days on end. There was one towed today, so that was kind of surprising. We were having lunch and we saw out the window, so.
thank that guy next to you.
I think, I heard, well, I don't want to say because we're on live, I don't know the reason, so, but it was towed. So really want to express our appreciation and thanks for looking into this and handling it.
Absolutely.
And then a question, do you have a timeline that you're looking at? I know there's a lot of department coordination.
It's a great question. I don't know, I mean, I'd imagine after approval, however long it takes to order the signs to get them posted.
I'll defer to, I don't know if Brian has any thoughts on how quick it'll take us to get these signs up?
Well, I'd say a couple weeks if we don't have the sign in stock.
All right, there we go.
Couple weeks for
Couple weeks.
folks watching at home.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, any questions?
Quick question, if you don't mind. At any time, we can go back and revisit this. If
At any
chaos
time.
ensues in that area or something, we can tweak it if we need to. I
Yes,
presume.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, if nobody else has a comment, I'll make a motion that we approve the parking signs and the tow zone as I discussed, as I mentioned.
Second?
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 500. There we go.
Thank you,
Sergeant,
Select Board,
very much.
appreciate it, thank you.
Folks, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we are moving squarely into budget season, item
Mr. Chairman?
66. Yeah.
Just real quick, I know the historical commission's here, I don't know if you want to let them know we read the.
Oh, yeah, I think Lynn gave them the proclamation, right? Yeah. All right, department budgets, FY 2024. Let's rock and roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can we start, well, first of all, you have your binders in front of you this week that were a little late last week, but everything should be in order now. If we can start with Council on Aging. Marge, if you want to come up to the mic. So for Council on Aging, we're looking at an overall increase of 3.75, and that consists of a 5.4% increase in salaries, which is driven by employees moving through steps and contractual obligations. The expenses has a minor 2.62, increase, which is really just a $50 increase for MELT, which is the training and education for the director and staff. And then you'll see the special has a negative 93% reduction. Again, we talk about this a lot, a smaller budget with a smaller expense budget, a little tweak of the numbers is kind of, has a big impact on the percentages. So that's a reduction in the home health line, which is due to a change in the way that it's structured, not really a change in service. That's kind of the 10,000 foot view, and I'm sure Marge can answer any more detailed questions that you might have.
Thanks, Brittany. Marge, anything you want to add before I turn you over to the board for questions?
I just have a couple things I want to touch on, not specifically budget-related necessarily. I'm sure that you're all aware that there's a lot of pressure on the budgets for seniors as well as anybody who doesn't make a lot of money. And so we're seeing an uptick in the amount of people coming in for fuel assistance, and an uptick in the number of people coming in for food insecurity. I think I touched on it the last time I was here, that the SNAP emergency allotments are ending, and they got their last check last week. And so going forward, they're all going back to their pre-pandemic amount of food that they were getting from the SNAP. So we're seeing a lot of people coming in a little bit panicked. Not everybody, but a few. And so we're trying to help everybody who's on SNAP make sure that they have everything counted, all of their expenses, so that they get the max amount of food possible. And I know that the food pantry also is increasing the amount of food that they're getting in. And they have told us that there's more where it comes from, so people shouldn't feel like they want to leave it for people who need it more. If you need food, go to the food pantry. And if you don't qualify for SNAP, go to the food pantry because they have a higher threshold. We're seeing a lot of housing issues with people not being able to afford their rent anymore. And when I say not afford their rent anymore, I mean their rent is going higher than their actual income. So it's not even a choice between food and rent. It's literally they can't afford their rent. So we've been dealing with that a lot. And that's a huge time suck. And then electricity has doubled for some of the seniors, which is also making it pretty unaffordable. And then just really quick, I went back and looked at all the my stats from the last 4 years, trying to kind of gather, what's been going on. We saw almost 1,000 clients in 2021 during the pandemic, and that's not coming in for activities. That's literally people coming to us for help and resources. In 2019, we had only seen 388, so it was a huge increase. And then we saw 522 clients with less staff in 22. And then in 2019, we saw over 1,200 participants. That's literally people coming in with activities. And in 2022, we are down to 945. So that's a pandemic. We've lost some people. Not everybody's back at the center. Some people are more comfortable virtually, but we're not seeing all of them come back even virtually yet. I don't know how long that recovery is going to be, but we do have more activities than we did before the pandemic. Mixed activity person, so kind of, both ways. And actually, just really also quick, in 2020 we had 907 participants. In 455 of those were virtual, so we had a huge virtual presence during 2020, which was really kind of cool to look at. So that's kind of it for our big snapshot of what's going on beyond the numbers for budget.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll turn to the board for questions. Who'd like to go first, anybody?
I'll take that.
Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Transportation. How is are our numbers ticking up at all in the LIFT program?
Yeah, actually, I had a meeting with Lyft on Friday, and we've just seen a steady increase through the year. Not huge, but we're at a good clip, and we're providing about 48 people with rides every month on average. We have a lot more than that signed up, but I think a lot of people sign up just in case they need it, not because they have to have it immediately.
Speaking of signing up, you had some you still had a few spots available for your upcoming senior prom at the cafe.
Yep,
scheduled
we have
this
a
year.
table and a half still available.
Okay, so how,
50, it's, $15 for residents, $20 for non-residents, on April 6th from 6 to 10, at the Escadrille,
wonderful.
so.
Okay. All right, great, thank you.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Okay. Marge, I appreciate you giving us a snapshot view of what's going on. I wish there was something more we could do for folks who need more assistance.
Just keep helping.
I mean, I guess just we'll keep looking for grants and opportunities and keep doing what we can do.
So we have 2.5 full FTE social workers right now. So we're, we're as maxed out as we can get on those hours, and we'll just keep plugging along.
Yeah, and please keep Paul and us, apprised if you need anything.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, gentlemen, make a motion on this one.
Mr. Chairman, oh, go ahead, Michael.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve COA budget as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 500.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marge.
Hold on a second, Marge.
Oh,
We want to cover local transportation also. So
Thank you, Whitney.
Selectman Runyon stole my thunder a little bit with that one. I had my introduction all planned. But just to give folks a refresher, this line is an accommodated account that represents the operating budget contribution to the town's rideshare subsidy program, which, as Marge just mentioned, we've seen pretty steady growth since we've come out of the pandemic. And we just want to make sure that we're funding the program appropriately. I think with another year or so under our belts of how the post-pandemic world shakes out, we might be able to refine that a little bit more, but right now we just want to which is why you see the jump from 50 to 100,000 to make sure that we're covering everything.
All right. And Whitney, you want to set the vote on that?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Someone make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the local transportation budget as presented.
Second.
this evening.
Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 500. All right, Marge, thank you.
Now I can leave, thank you.
Now you can leave. Can we do conservation next, please?
We sure can. Mr. Keeley, come on up.
So conservation, we're looking at an overall 6.27% increase. That's driven by a salary increase of 6.98, which consists largely of the transitional advisor stipend for the director, which you've seen come up before when we have a department head that's sort of helping with succession planning. And then there's also a stipend for the assistant administrator for the stormwater management, which I'm sure John can get into more detail if there are questions about that. Expenses are level funded and special accounts are also level funded. So again, you see in a small budget where a minor increase sort of acts onto that percentage increase. And turn it over to John or
Yeah, John, does anything you want to add before we?
No, great job, Whitney. It's just, the full-time salaries are the driver of the increase.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, any questions?
We don't.
No, yeah, I don't either. All right, if there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the conservation budget as presented.
Second. Okay, motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 500.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. All right, Whitney.
can we go to veterans, please?
Veterans, yeah. Mr. Hannafin, come on up.
I can't see anybody behind the screen, so
I
I'm just
know,
hoping
yeah.
they're all over there.
Chris, how we doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Hang it in there.
Okay, so for veterans, we're looking at an overall increase of 5.12. The salary increase of 6.24 consists of contractual obligations and employees moving up through steps. The expenses are going up 43.36%. And that, again, is actually only about a $1,300 increase. And this is just reflecting the right sizing of the way that Chris is budgeting for flags. So historically, he would buy all the flags for all the departments and then invoice other departments, and then we would then pay ourselves back for the flags. So we're just right sizing that budget, and Chris is just owning that expense.
I want a monopoly on all the flags.
And then on the special accounts, you'll see a 2.61% increase. Special accounts here include the Veterans Aid and Memorial Day, Veterans Day celebrations. So that increase is driven by the Veterans Aid, which you probably remember is reimbursed eventually 75% from the state. But that comes in separately in the general fund.
Okay. Chris, anything you want to add?
No, yeah,
It's probably the first time since you started that the budget's actually gone up.
I'm not happy about it. I went against all better judgment. But yeah, if you look within the budget, we actually have money, we're plussed up in regards to materials and supplies, because every time, someone needs a flag, they'll write us a check for it. And then it comes into our office, and then we send it out to the town, and it's a waste of Jen's time, it's a waste of other people's time that has to write the check to us. So I just figured, let's just purchase the flags, and the onus is on us, and whenever someone needs one, we hand it out.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, and then the only other increase is Veterans Aid. The state decided that when we re-upped everybody for calendar year 2023, that we were not going to use the 8.7% increase for Social Security. That won't come until July. So the state is anticipating to change their budgeting requirements so that the 8.7% won't look like complete sticker shock to those on fixed incomes. The state is telling us that they're anticipating to see that increase. Whether or not they do or not, I don't know, but we have seen an uptick in aid due to limitations being increased. So that's where that is.
To the board, gentlemen, any questions? No? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the veterans budget as presented.
Second. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500. That takes care of that, and then, Chris, you're gonna stick around, because we got you for, DAC.
Yep.
Brittany?
So DAC, we're looking at an overall increase of 4.46. This budget is almost exclusively made up of the salary of the recording secretary for the commission. So that budget is just a function of the rate of that secretary and the hours needed. The expenses are level funded.
Okay. Anything to add there, Chris?
The only thing that I would say is, we've been operating pretty, evenly in regards to handicap parking, the handicap parking fine fund. And over the last 2 years, the funds aren't coming in as much as we want them to push out. So maybe it's just something that we need to keep an eye on. Don't wanna stop giving to the rec department and all the good things they do with their therapeutic rec specialty program. And I think Brendan and Kelly have done a fantastic job of tapping into the disability access to ensure that funds for the therapeutic rec specialty programs, we're trying to level them out. Obviously, they're more expensive than other programs, so we want to subsidize those so parents with children that are going to be a part of those programs don't have an increased cost. But my projections right now, we've got maybe about 2 years before we're starting to pinch pennies, so.
Okay. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Alrighty, gentlemen, any questions on this? Jim?
Just for the record, I'm gonna be abstaining from this because my brother's a member of the DAC.
Anybody else, questions, comments? No? All right, then I will entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve the Disability Access Committee budget as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
That's me.
All right, 4-0-1. All right, Chris, you're all set.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks, Chris.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I think the gentleman from 76 Lexington may be here now, if you, DPW's got a couple of items.
Okay,
if you
yeah.
wanna-
Yeah, we can
Pop
definitely
those.
pop out of order for a second and take, it was item 63 for the street opening at 76 Lexington. You want to come on up? Thanks for coming in. If you could just take a minute and explain to us, you know, the situation and what you're looking for.
I had oil when I purchased the house, October 2022, and the oil tank is out of service. So I wasn't able to fill the tank. So I'm just stuck trying to replace the oil tank to put back, you know, the heat on. So in the middle of this, decided to pursue switching to gas because there's gas on the street. It's more, you know, cleaner and efficient. So that's, I have, you know, small kids, and I'm in the middle of adding a second floor now. It's almost, you know, getting there. So I was told to come to this meeting to present my, you know, situation and see if you guys can grant me that permit that needed.
Yeah, so basically, between November 15th and April 1st, we have a moratorium on opening the road. So we don't allow it just because with winter and, you know, having to have open roads and all that. I'm gonna hold my questions, let the board ask some questions, I'm sure they have some. And then we can see if we can't get to a resolution. So, who would like to start? Jim?
Sorry, is your family living in the house right now?
No, it's still, the house is still being worked on.
So, my question is, I'm thinking, will it be done before April 1st?
I'm hoping, you know, depending on how the contractors move.
Because if you're not living there, it would make sense just to wait till April 1st.
I mean, that's one of the reasons that we decided not to try to, you know, live in there because there's no heat or it's just a big mess. So if the utility company told me that the town does not allow before the end of April, but now I'm hearing that at the beginning of April, the town, so it's almost 2 weeks. So that should be okay if that's the case. I think the National Grid has the wrong information as to when the town allows for, you know, street opening.
Oh, I see, okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, follow up?
Yeah.
So my suggestion, I'm just throwing this out there before anybody, you know, I know they want to speak too. I'd get the ball rolling as far as the paperwork goes, but if you're not going to be living there before April 1st, I don't see any need to open the street before April 1st. But that's all I'm going to say.
Sure. Mike?
Yeah, you know, I concur with Jim. I drive by your house 4, 5, 6 times a day. I've been watching the progress. Actually, I'm glad to see, actually pleased to see you adding on a second floor rather than knocking the house down and putting something brand new up there. But, yeah, it doesn't look close to being ready to go. I really don't see a hardship here. By April 1st, in just a couple of weeks, you'll be able to go to DPW, start the paperwork, and it should be all right.
Okay. Does the, utility, I mean, the National Grid apply for permit, or do I have to go to?
Your contract, who'd you contract with to make the connection?
It's a different, a plumber.
Your contractor would pull the necessary permit.
Joe?
Just real quick, the National Grid told you the end of April?
Yeah,
That's what they told you?
Yeah.
Our policy is April 1st, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you need to get a letter from us stating that we allow the streets open April 1st, then I'm sure we can provide you with that. But as they said earlier, it's not gonna be done for the next 2 weeks, so I don't see a need to open the street up right now. And I think the other selectmen are right, that if you start the paperwork now, get the letter from us that it is April 1st, he'll have everything ready to go, so when the time comes, they can just jump right on that and and put that gas in the house for you at that point. So, and we really don't open streets for anybody. So,
Reason-
Yeah, I agree with everything that's already been said, so I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, you guys asked the same questions I was thinking. All right, well, I mean, if it's unoccupied and there's no hardship and there's obviously miscommunication with National Grid, then, you know, contact them and like Joe said, we'd be happy to supply a letter, you know, regarding our moratorium, so that they're very clear as to what, you know, our, you know, bylaws are. And then I would just say, this is withdrawn without prejudice, and we won't take a vote, and you'll be good to go.
If it's, this town allows starting April 1st, then I think I don't have any problem with that.
Okay. All right, and let us know if anything changes or they give you a hard time or anything, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Did you say if I need a letter to show to National Grid?
To National Grid,
you
yeah,
guys would-
just contact our office and we'll
Okay,
get the necessary stuff going for you,
okay,
all right?
absolutely.
All right.
Good luck
Thanks for
with
coming
that.
down, and good luck.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, jumping back into budget, because we all love that so much. DPW. Whitney, go ahead.
Thank you. So DPW has an overall increase of 3.53 operating and 23.6% accommodated. And that accommodated line contains the trash and recycling increase. Salaries are 1.49, which again consists of contractual obligations and employees moving through steps. The expense budget is going up 8.04%. This is driven largely by increased cost of water purchases, gas and diesel prices. Basically, inflation is driving up the cost of materials and contracted services across the board. So you'll see a lot of increases in each of those individual lines. And then the special accounts, one of the major drivers there is, again, the trash and recycling contract that's up for rebid this year. And with that, I'll turn it over to DPW to dive into any more detail.
Yeah, Brian, Rachel, whatever you.
So Whitney did like the big overview of it. The only other thing I'll add where you can see in our special accounts, there's a couple other items that look like they're large increases. We actually moved some items around. So for highway, we've been decreasing hot top and using more thermo, and those were in two different special accounts. One was Highway 1, and the other is sign and lane painting, so we kind of moved the money around. So that's why Highway 1's going down 33%, and the sign and lane painting is going up 51%, but they're pretty much even out if you combine them. Another thing is we moved paint from Highway 1 to sign and lane painting, and we've been increasing tree removal because we've noticed a lot more calls coming in, a lot more dead trees, you know. We're gonna have to do a lot more cleanup. And I think that's kind of it. I can go into as much detail as you want, or anything you wanna know.
All right, gentlemen, questions. We'll start, Mike, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The 23.65% increase for the trash, are you factoring, I know we have to renegotiate our trash contract. Are you factoring in the increase already? Is that a projection, or is that an accurate number, or could it be more, or is that pretty much what it's gonna be?
So in our minds, that's the top. We don't anticipate it being any more than, I think it's a 36% increase just for that one accommodated account. That's the maximum. We're always very conservative with the numbers that we've seen as preliminaries thus far.
So it could be less.
It could be less. I wouldn't hold your
Fingers
breath.
crossed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just so the board knows that there's really two major components to that, and the actual disposal and, pardon me?
Collection.
The collection is what we're out negotiating the contract now, and it's actually going up estimated 40% on that particular part of it. We do have an existing contract on the disposal, but that will be coming up in a year or two, I believe.
Yes, 1 year.
So,
And this covers both trash and recycling?
Yes.
yep. So it's a 40% increase on the actual collection, and we had a lot of discussion about that as a board at previous meetings on what was going on with trash, so.
Thank you, Paul. Joe, anything?
No, no questions.
Yeah, actually. So on your list of projects included in the budget is that traffic light that's getting a lot of talk lately at Wind Street at Mountain Road.
That's, so that's not in the operating, that was on the capital plan. I think that was pushed out, till next year.
2024.
No, it keeps getting pushed out. Here's my concern with that. I wanted to talk about this tonight. With the restriping of Cambridge Street scheduled for the summer, actually, I think it would be reasonable to anticipate additional traffic in other parts of town, and in particularly affecting that area there, people wanting to avoid the Cambridge Street ride from the Woburn line up to the center of town there. What can we do to expedite that traffic signal in this year's capital projects?
Member Runyon, I'll just say that the department brought it forward, and it's a big-ticket item, so we're trying to make everything fit within the financial guidelines of how we typically do things in terms of free cash, so it's high on our level of consciousness right now.
How high?
Like next year.
Next year.
Next year.
Next year.
Again, I think we had it, it's estimated at about $500,000, so that, it takes a big chunk out of what we have to spend, and we do have some big ticket requests coming forward with ambulances and fire trucks and a variety of different things, so we did take a hard look at that this year, and it's, again, very high on our level of consciousness, but in order to make everything balance out for this year, we thought that we could possibly push that out for one more year.
I'm not convinced. I'd like you to reconsider that, but that's up for the rest of the board to talk about, I suppose. I don't have a crystal ball, but again, I think a reasonable person would assume that there's gonna be quite a bit of additional traffic down in that area there.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know a lot of residents were upset when we lost the cardboard dumpsters for here. I know we've had discussions about, relocating them. How difficult would that be? I mean, does this budget account for that, or would that be an additional expense?
No, I don't think there would be any additional expense to it, at least trying to replicate what was here. If there was more effort involved, there might be expenses, but we don't foresee that, considering that as an option to add anything to this budget.
Have we moved any closer to getting those back into service?
I think what we were trying to do is see, we've been rolling out the larger toters when the complaints were coming in. So we have a pretty long list, I think 450 or so properties have signed up for it. So we've been rolling those out, and I think at this point, we were gonna see how those, how properties handled their cardboard with those bigger toters. And if there's still a lot of complaints, then we can start looking into the logistics of bringing back a, cardboard dumpster.
We also, we've spoken to our contact at Republic Services, who's been keeping us up to date on the amount of toters he sent out, cardboard that he sees on a weekly basis that's collected, and basically since mid to late January, it's been an exponential drop-off from the requests that have come in, and same if you sit in our office, our phones were off the hook as soon as we took the dumpsters away, and then, we don't even get like one a week now. We think, the Christmas season is the big time that people are getting rid of most cardboard, and especially those prime boxes, so it doesn't mean we're not still looking into options, because we know how much the residents valued that service, so.
Anything else?
Well, just a quick follow-up, even if it was seasonal, I'm sure the residents would be happy with that.
Absolutely.
Also,
Follow-up question to the cardboard stuff. How long is the wait list for the larger toters right now? Do we know?
Yeah, so it's not a wait list, how do I phrase this? We have all of the toters, orders are placed.
Okay.
And after we've delivered them all, we still have a surplus of about 75 for those stragglers that come in.
Okay, awesome. And just general timing on that, do we know?
I think did they just do one this past Saturday or?
Yeah, so I think we're thinking there's maybe like a month left, to be able to get them all to everyone.
Oh, I got you. So it's kind of just rolling out as they get them, they're bringing them out to folks.
Yeah, when we get them, they're on a box truck and we have to assemble all of them, or the highway department's been putting in a lot of extra hours trying to get them assembled, and one cart goes by, picks them up, another one goes by, drops off the new one. They have a really great system going, and we appreciate all that they've done for us to help those get out.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then just following up on Member Runyon's question around the traffic lights. So I agree more holistically that as we repaint 3A, we should be looking at and working with BPD on traffic shifting. And if that means that we need to, any other, we'll call it just traffic shifts that occur, be prepared for those kinds of things. Because I agree, I think that there's gonna be a lot of initial shifting, and it'll probably settle within the first 5 months, I'd say, once the road's been repainted, but, beyond just, the BPD pulling people over for speeding in areas they shouldn't be speeding in, if we need to put a temporary signage that, reminds folks they shouldn't be cutting through certain hours or whatever, just, keep that in the back of your minds if you wouldn't mind. All right, anything else? Yeah.
One more follow-up, Mr. Chairman. Back to the dumpsters. I know we were talking about if we were to bring them back, that potentially we could have a spot where there'd be cameras on them. Wouldn't that be an added expense to do something like that?
It depends on where the dumpsters would go, what kind of wiring would need to be done, but, cameras are, a cheap option for cameras, these days is really cheap. I think we could fit it within the budget.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. All right, gentlemen, if there's nothing else, then we can take a motion on this.
Make a motion to approve the DPW budget as listed.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Whitney, what's up next?
That's all I have for tonight.
That's it? All right. Who's in next time around, do you know?
Public safety. So, building, family, fire, police.
You sent us a list already. I'm just being a pain. All right.
It was a test. Okay.
Thank you for that statement. All right, 6-7, approval, snow and ice deficit. Hi again.
This is something we do every single year. Our snow and ice budget is $350,000 every year, and typically we go over that. So far this winter season, we've had 5 storms and 7 sanding events with a total accumulation of just under 20 inches of snow. And the total is actually updated since I sent this memo out where it originally listed, we've spent about $330,000, but it's actually $375,000 now that we have all the actual numbers in our financial software. So we've had to bring in private contractors in 4 of our events so far. And just to put things into perspective, because you're probably thinking, there really hasn't been that much snow this year, why is it so much money? In FY20, 3 fiscal years ago, we were paying $45.90 per ton for salt, and we were paying about average $85 an hour for contractors. This fiscal year, FY23, salt is now $70.47 a ton, and our contractors, we've had to increase to about $98 an hour on average. Typically, we'll ask for $500,000 to add to this fund, but this year we're only going to ask for $250,000, which would bring the total appropriation to $600,000 for snow and ice.
Gentlemen, questions? Joe, start with you.
This doesn't count in what we're gonna get tomorrow, right? Okay. We do this every year. We go through this every year. We start out low and then they come back in and ask for more money every year, so let's, okay, good luck.
Good luck.
See you out there plowing.
Mike?
Remind us again why we do this.
I don't wanna have to put the money back into someplace we took it out of.
So, there's a unique quirk to state law that basically allows us to overspend a budget to take care of snow and ice, whatever it takes. So, what many communities do is keep that budget artificially low, because you can overspend it, so that you don't tie up funds for school teachers or police officers that you could be using there, and then not have it snow. Some of the larger cities even may only budget for $50,000 a year. We take a different approach than that. We budget for $350,000 in the operating budget. But as part of our budget planning, we also factor in an additional half $500,000. And that gets us to what we traditionally spend on snow removal on an average year, about $850,000 plus or minus. But that additional $500,000 that Public Works typically asks for is already been accounted for in our budget projection. And it's just a little bit of a different and unique situation. And again, the opportunity cost would be if we budgeted $850,000 and it didn't snow, then we would have this funding there. We may have made cuts to the other departments to get to that point. And this sort of allows us to budget for what we're actually gonna spend, in a sense, so. It is a unique quirk, but if the residents are watching at home, we do account for $850,000 total in snow removal, and that's kind of an average of what we do on a typical year.
Very good, thank you.
Jim?
Nope.
Mike?
No.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make one, but I forgot what the number was.
250.
250?
Right.
Can make a motion to add an additional $250,000 to the snow and ice account for the DPW.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. 500. Now you're officially free to go.
Nope.
No. Oh, because it's the, no. If I could read. All right. Item 68, Green Community Sustainability Projects.
So great to see you guys tonight. So we have some good news to share and some upcoming projects that we're really excited about. So as you know, we came here in 2019, proposing that we become a green community, and since then we've been doing a lot of energy efficiency upgrades throughout the whole town, trying to reduce our energy footprint by 20% in 5 years. We've done 2 annual reports thus far, and we're down 11% of that 20. So we're really proud of the progress we've made. And that is including, a brand new DPW facility, which is great to hear. So we have 2 upcoming projects for this year on the town side. One grant is from Green Communities, and we have to, before we do any HVAC upgrades, you have to do weatherization, which is basically tightening the space. They do a lot of the door sweeps and sealing of spaces to make sure no air can flow in and out that you don't want to. So the last 2 buildings we have are Town Hall and the Town Hall Annex. So we got a Green Communities grant. They're gonna cover 72% of the project. We have our contract out to be signed. We're ready to get the gears going on that one. And our other project is to put solar on our first town building. And we're also gonna weatherize, and this is at the Mill Pond Water Treatment Plant. There was a DEP grant specifically targeting wastewater and drinking water plants to increase energy efficiencies. So they're gonna cover 90% of the costs, and that's through Mass DEP. We're gonna utilize the Mass Smart program, which is specifically for solar arrays. So there's gonna be a big solar array on the roof of Mill Pond, which sees a lot of sunlight, and we'll also be weatherizing that building.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great update.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
So no vote, just update.
Just note that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Rachel, can you just update the board? I think you had calculated the estimated utility savings from the solar project. Ballpark.
Maybe she didn't.
Great question.
Thanks a lot,
I had it in my.
She does, but she doesn't have those numbers in front of her right now.
Like I said, these projects work great, and they actually, in the long term, they save us money on our utility bills as well, so.
Yeah.
And Mill Pond is a huge energy grabber, because of those pumps that are running in, we have those new pumps coming in. So potentially it could just, eliminate the new cost of those filters that are coming in. I can send out those numbers.
Thank you, Rachel.
I do have them.
That's awesome. I believe you do. Just a quick question on the solar array. So when a solar array goes up on a municipal building, do we then maintenance it, or does the state help us with that? Like, how does that work?
So we will own the panels, and the SMART program does help with covering some of the costs and maintenance, and we're gonna have to look into, you know, is there a warranty, like on a residential home, you typically have, I think, 5 to 10 years of them covering replacement panels and anything like that, so.
All right. Gentlemen, any questions or comments on that update? Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is exciting, this is a great job, this is a cool update. Will those panels be powering like our new PFAS treatment facility, or will they be doing like do you know a percentage of the treatment plant that they'll be covering from through the panels, or do we have those kind of numbers yet, or?
Do have them.
Oh, okay.
It's not on me. But
okay.
I can tell you that the Mill Pond energy use is anywhere from like, you know, $10,000 to $12,000 a month just from Eversource. So I think we had a significant amount per year. I think it was, I wanna say it was about $100,000 a year in savings.
Wow, that's great. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then officially you're both free to go.
Thank you. And
Thank
I'll
you
send
very
those
much.
numbers out.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update.
All right, we got item 69. This is a continued public hearing for our alcohol policy.
Did you want to talk to historical before we jump into that, or are they good?
Oh, I mean, so folks, proclamation was issued and then everyone came. You had the proclamation. For anyone watching, we're to the Historical Commission who is here with us. Anything that you want to add or ask? I mean, you're free to go. You don't have to stick around.
Right, so we knew that. We wanted to thank you for doing the proclamation and, weighing in a couple questions, but we just, want, to figure out now how we're gonna go forward with all of the town events.
Yes. So you're very welcome. Happy to do it. I think that we can, meet up and have a conversation offline, start that ball rolling, and then, either at our next meeting or the meeting after.
Maybe have them back at some point soon and
Yeah.
announce some of their goals and
Yeah.
objectives for the coming year.
Absolutely.
And will it be a member of the selectmen board that will be a part of the whole group that's gonna be working on this?
Yeah, we'll definitely appoint a liaison at that point and have someone official to help be the intermediary.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
down. All right, item 69, continued alcohol policy public hearing. Alcohol subcommittee, anything you want to open with?
I think I have to read this again. I think I've read it 3 times already as it is.
Yeah.
And I still find stuff I missed the first 2 times.
It's a lot, it's like 22 pages of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot.
There's a lot there.
I don't think there's a rush to get through it at all, but is there anything that you want to?
Honestly, I believe that everything's going on track right now. Every now and then somebody will give me an idea, or might give it to Mike or something like that to say, what about this, or what about that, The one I read earlier was, this, no license shall be installed, institute a dress requirement of any kind according to the following rules, shirts, ties, jackets, that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know who wears that anymore. I mean, I really don't. I don't know who goes to
Other
a
than us.
restaurant and just, unless you're going to, a play in Boston first, maybe at that point, but this is for Burlington, this isn't. So those are something I have to read over again. What's proper dress? Proper dress required in today's world. It's a pair of jeans and a shirt that doesn't get tucked in. You know what I mean?
I think we could just delete that and
Yeah,
whittle down that 26
thinking the
pages
same
to
thing, but-
25.
Yeah.
If we do that.
I'm just thinking, and like I said, every time I read it, I come up with something new, like, that just doesn't happen anymore, that's just not the way the world is working in today's society, There is no more of this any place you go, really, even if you go to the Capitol Grill, you see sweatshirts with hoodies,
It's true.
Do I like it? No. Paying that kind of money? Never mind, let me shut up. I'm gonna say something that I regret.
All right, Paul, anything you want to?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree. I've got 20 or 30 questions that I've come up with, similar to what Selectman Randy just raised. I would suggest that the board keep bringing things you find, things you want to discuss, things you want to talk about to our attention. We'll put them together on a list, and within, you know, in the upcoming weeks, we'll have town council meet with the alcohol subcommittee. We'll go through all the questions. We'll get things deleted, added, whatever we need to do moving forward. It's very thorough policy. You may note from reading in there, it does have a whole BYOB policy, and I know the board hasn't even discussed that yet. So we have, there's no need to rush on this, and I think when we get done through all the work that we're doing on it, we'll have a great policy. But I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. There's no reason to rush this at this point. And let's continue digesting it and let us know different things that you've come up with as you read through it, because I have a list of questions myself. The other thing I want to do is go back to look at our current policy, just to see there's some really specific things in that one, and I think that we'll want to develop a list of those just to ensure that we make sure that they're covered in the new policy as well.
Right, yeah, definitely. Mike?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there were 2 or 3 items that I kind of wanted to drill down on. I talked about one earlier in terms of the penalty period there for, you know, any liquor license violations. But the other 2, the BYOB, I think is interesting. It was that's something brand new to us. And I also kind of wanted to focus on the Sunday hours. They're not spelled out in our current policy. Lynn mentioned, I think we were using ABCC guidelines for Sunday operation hours. We'll sort of get some clarification on that.
Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mentioned it last time. I just want to, you know, the way things go today, we have numerous venues around town. In fact, the town has one of them themselves with the beer gardens, where a restaurant or a store will have a series of events. So I'm looking to have that seasonal license put in so that like Common Craft at the mall, Wegmans, the beer gardens that the town sponsors, where instead of having to have the requester come in every time or, you know, every third time, where we can do a seasonal license, because that seems to be the trend these days of these beer gardens, tastings and stuff. And just to make it easy for streamline the process so that they only have to come before us once and not every single time. So that's why I'd like to see some, it references seasonal licenses in here, but talks about winter seasonal licenses, but I'd like to have us, we don't have those events during the winter, we have them during the summer, so I'd like to see that addressed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mike, anything else?
No, nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I definitely am raising the same questions that a couple of you folks are raising, you know, around like the BYOB. You know, there were a couple of things in here like the on and off premise hours that I'd love to discuss, you know, in a group setting, because I think that, you know, we've all, I think, got a thought in our head, but let's see, you know, where we can light on that. And there were a couple spots that had like, you know, fines, but it was just the dollar mark, the dollar symbol, you know, placeholder. So, you know, I think at this point, let's all, you know, keep reading, and like Paul said, get our questions, you know, filtered through, you know, the office, and, you know, up to town council, get another draft of this back, give it a read, and then hopefully, if not at our next meeting, the meeting after, you know, we can have a little bit more discussion on some of the finer points, because I think we'll be getting there at that point. I don't think that we'll be ready for a vote at that time, but I think that we can have some more open discussion versus, you know, I think kind of reading it and thinking it through and, you know, trying to get it, you know, right in our heads. So, okay. If nothing else, then, you know, we'll just go ahead and continue this. Paul, do you feel confident that we could get a turn from town council by the 27th, or do you want to?
I'm not sure if we would, if we would have a lot to discuss at that point in time, but we will have a lot of questions answered. It'll be right on the doorstep of town meetings, so
right.
I was thinking perhaps maybe the second meeting in May, if we could continue to, and that'll give everybody enough time to really digest, get your questions, and we should be able to sort of come back with a fine-tuned product on that date.
Okay.
Which is
All right.
what, Lynn?
May 22nd.
So May 22nd, public hearing continued Do we have to have a time certain for that?
No, it's just the one that was already written, so that's, on or after 6 o'clock.
All right, perfect. Okay, subcommittee reports, item 70. Mr. Spaho, you wanna go first?
Yeah, not really a subcommittee report, but I wanted to, Chairman Selectman Morandi and I and school committee member Martha Simon had the opportunity to
No, go ahead, you're fine.
to speak to the eighth graders today at the start of their civics, civics lesson. Yeah, so, and it was a nice assembly of all the eighth graders. I just want to thank the Marshall Simons Middle School staff for having us. It's always fun to talk to the kids and take their questions, which are always interesting. And it was a nice morning with the middle schoolers today. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Awesome. Joe?
No, I have nothing. Mike said it all right there. I actually had a really good time today with the kids, and it was very enjoyable. Some really great questions, especially the one child that asked me if we're gonna have a snow day tomorrow.
I hope you told him yeah.
That was quite funny.
All right, anything else?
No, that's it.
We can have a snow day tomorrow. You betcha, kid. Mike?
No, sir, not tonight.
Okay. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two. One is for summary of the fire department for the month of February. The fire department responded to 405 calls. 228 of them were emergency medical related, not related to motor vehicle crashes. However, they did respond to many crashes as well. They did have 5 fires, fortunately no house fires in February. I know we had one the other night, but in February there were no house fires, but they did respond to 5 fires. And several calls for down lines, gas leaks, alarms, and such. And my second subcommittee is the audit committee. We met last week, and the audit committee, we had a conference and an exit interview, so to speak, with Powers and Sullivan, who's our auditing firm. And once again, he came up with our comprehensive. We received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. So, I just want to make sure I get the wording of it right. So for a number of years, that we've received the Certificate of Excellence, and it seemed that trend, we believe, is going to continue. In other words, the audit came out great, we're doing everything right, no issues, nothing that warrants any looking into. So our financial report was fantastic. The way we report was deemed fantastic. And I know, we have a responsibility for the town, but we also have numerous residents that volunteer for the audit committee, and we have some tremendous talent in our residents. So I just want to thank them for all they do. I know Florence Leone, David Tate, they're residents, and there was another gentleman who wasn't able to make it. They just volunteer their time just to be there. But again, we did a great job with the audit and, flying colors.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so we want a chairman's report. Just simply state, that if you're looking to volunteer for something, contact the office, get the form online. We're always looking for volunteers. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face.
I'm red.
I'm always red.
That's what I'm saying.
Nice good shade of red. And don't forget, the town election is April 1st this year. It is early in April, because that is our first available Saturday. Okay, town administrator's report. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things, a couple of really good meetings the past couple of weeks. We were able to meet with DEP, with Representative Gordon set us up with a meeting over there to sort of discuss our PFAS problem and where it may have originated and what steps we could take from now to try to determine the source of that contamination and hopefully hold someone accountable for that. So that project is in process. Lisa Mead, our town council, was with us for that. And again, I believe it'll probably be the start of a very long process. So it's probably not something that we're gonna see the results from certainly anytime soon. But I do think it makes a lot of sense for us to try to find a responsible party for that and hopefully hold them accountable for some sort of reimbursement of the costs that the town has had to incur to remediate that. The second great meeting we had, John, Brian White and I visited the town of Bedford, and we had a good discussion with them about how our MWRA project could help assist them with, they have some water problems over there in Bedford, so we began a dialogue and discussion with them just to see how they could contribute to our project to hopefully supplement their water supply as well. So just sort of the beginning of the discussions with them. So hopefully we'll get some good news out of that moving forward as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Sorry, Joe, you had one more thing you wanted to say?
Yes, I did, actually, I forgot, Mr. Chairman, there was one thing. Kind of, our last, 2 meetings ago, I believe it was, we all voted in Dottie's way to go to the school committee.
Yeah.
Just to let everyone know, the residents and so forth on the board, I did go to the school committee, and it was an overwhelming 5-0 vote in favor of naming the roadway Dottie's Way. So personally, I'd like to thank everybody. We all know how much you meant to this town and the school committee for accepting it without any hesitation whatsoever. So I just wanted to bring that up quick. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Please keep us posted as to when they get the sign and what we're gonna do and how we can, contribute. Wonderful. Okay, folks, that brings us to the end of our agenda, so, launching a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. Let the record show, 4-1-0. Good night, everybody.